Today I'm attempting to be cool. I have my Steve McQueen gloves and my helmet over there, and behind me, well, I have one of the coolest motorbikes, a Triumph Street Twin. So to give you a little walk around and an idea of what we're riding, again, I'm sure most of you are familiar with how these look. The Bonneville is iconic. Most people know the shape, so you all know what you're looking at down there. Of course, just to help you out, it does say Street Twin. It's got 54, 55 brake horsepower, 59 foot-pounds of torque. It's the first bike I've ridden with more torque than power, which is strange. We have a liquid-cooled parallel twin. Even with the extra weight from radiator, it's a very, very light bike. It's 190 something kilograms, 194 I think it was, 194 kilograms. Thereabouts, dry. So maybe 210 kilograms with a tank full. Haven't tested the brakes much, although I did just try and lock up the back delicately whilst riding very slowly. And the ABS took over. Quite strange though, it did feel like something was hitting the floor actually when the ABS took over, which was odd, but it was engaging. The first time I actually thought I did hit something on the floor, and the second time it engaged and stopped the back wheel from locking up. It's a weird mechanical feel, kind of a grind I guess, where it skips out of the braking. It has a single disc on the front, 310mm I believe, and 2-pot calipers. And the rear disc is 255mm, again 2-pot Nissan calipers. So you're probably aware that it's got 150 customizable options for it as well. And I was mentioning this when testing other bikes. I was saying that the Triumph has the most as far as customizability. As far as the clock goes, this is strange, and I'm sure you're aware of it, but it took me by surprise. There's no rev counter. Didn't know what I was doing as far as revs go. Didn't know how far I was up the rev range. Very simple switchgear, absolutely nothing to it. Very light clutch, I think it's assisted. We've also got indicators, horn, lights on the front there, and information. So you can have a look at the information. You can change stuff, there we go. So you got your trip, got your fuel gauge, which is quite good actually, quite accurate, not too bad. Much better than the Yamaha XSR 900, which was 4 blocks. This has actually got a mile per gallon and expected as well, so it can tell you what it expects to get. Beautiful clock though, and you can see that a long way out because it actually extends quite far from your crotch, so you can see a lot of that actually. It's a nice thing to observe while you're riding. But the as I say, not having a rev counter or rev gauge did throw me a little bit, but you'll get used to it. The thing is, you don't really want to be holding on to the revs, so you just get a feel for it. Once you feel you're starting to lose power and you feel you should change up, then change up. Ignition is from the kill switch, down to start, obviously up to engage the kill switch, and then hazards, in case it breaks down. But since servicing is every 10,000 miles, I'm assuming Triumph are confident of the reliability of this thing. And so this should be in the mirrors, beautiful. They are good actually. Very little vibration through there. You can see plenty in the background, even myself. Hi there, how's it going? So with that said, I probably should get on this thing and go and ride it. And I will. Bye. So, and my Steve McQueen's, feeling like a fucking legend. And my summer jacket, which has no business being on my back in October. Let's have a little listen. So it is clutch in to start. I guess it's a Triumph thing. Although my Suzuki did that as well. I hope you can hear that because that is gorgeous. Oh, 900 cc's, 54 brake horsepower. So the initial thing I should point out, well, first of all, we know it's got 5 gears, just to say, and a top speed, I think, of around 115, but you're never really going to be wanting to do that. It's not about doing 115 miles an hour. What's the point? This thing is designed to get looks. And if you want looks, the hell are you doing going past people at 115 miles an hour? It's the little touches that look really good, and the build quality, the finish, is really good on this bike. All the machined aluminium bits look made to last. The mirrors, sturdy, not too much vibration through the bars. In fact, not a lot of vibration through the bike. A nice throb, so you can feel it's between your legs. I don't know, maybe I'm too reliant upon a rev gauge. I probably am. And I'm also going to assume there's a lot of wind coming through here for noise, which is probably canning out my voice. I have no idea what the lady was pointing towards. Thanks, yeah. I mean, is there going to be another mile marker down here? Having said that about finish, maybe she meant this was down here. I think she did. Well, thank you, lady. Having mentioned finish, there is something which, I don't know, I don't really like. The clock. I don't know if you can see that on my camera. I don't know if leaning forward helps. Probably not. The needle has a lot of shake to it, which I thought at first glance, when I was throttling off and it was going down the gauge, I thought it was a design, I thought it was on purpose basically. I thought it was like one of those Swiss watches where you click the button and your stop clock goes around and centers itself and you can see every little increment. But actually it is just a shake. I was making more of it than there is. It's actually just a shake to the needle, which is annoying. Now again, then back to the engine. You'd think so much torque developed so low that maybe it'd be a bit too sensitive, but it is ride by wire. So I guess the electronics take over for you and make it smooth. It still pulls in fourth nicely, but if you go to fifth, actually, the pull wears off a little bit. It's much stronger, I guess for obvious reasons, down in second and third. Hello. Stronger in second and third. Third is really a sweet spot for it. You can go up to 70 miles an hour and it's perfectly happy. It's still pulling along. It's still got engine braking, although for a twin, not too much engine braking. It's a 900, but the engine braking is not too much. You do start to use the brakes, I suppose. Depends what you like. I mean, I'm used to riding the Monster S2R, And when you throttle off on that thing, I mean, the amount of times you have to use the brake is so minimal, because the engine braking takes all of that from you, really. It takes over. There's no problem. But this one does require a little dab of brakes every now and then to scrub off some speed, which isn't a bad thing. No complaint, just an observation. The frame feels nice and rigid. I know the suspension, at least in the old Bonnevilles, well, my brother and other people call them Bouncervilles, because they bounce around. And the suspension on this is on the soft side, but it's not flimsy. It does take out some of the bouncers though. You can feel it, especially just going around that corner. Ba-dunk, 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 ba-dunk. It takes a few of them out. I guess it's the rebound is quite slow on the suspension on this thing. But that's good. If you're going to use it for town, it's mild-mannered, but it's not so wallowy that you feel like you're going to lose it going around a corner. You know where the bike is, and you can pick your line, track it easily. I suppose we're going to hit a tractor at some point, won't we? It's inevitable. And here we are. Here's a tractor. Hello! Still taking one of the sights. What a lovely sight. Well, now that the tractor's gone, I can talk a little bit more about the handling of the bike. You know already, dry weight 194 kilograms. This thing is light. It's probably around 210, as I say, with the tank full. But it's still not heavy, especially not compared to the old bikes. Yeah, the old Bonneville. Or the bigger Bonneville, I should say. The 2120 is obviously heavier than this. So it's cut down on weight. Now for comfort, as I say, it's precise. The suspension is on the soft side, which I quite like. If it wasn't on a track, I mean, I wouldn't take it on a track. So I made for it. It's for this. This is what it's made for. But it's a low seat height, really low seat height. The lowest I've ridden is 750 mil. My Hornet, 790. The Street Triple that I'm going to try later is 800 mil. So it's a low bike. But you don't feel cramped. As I say, you know what? Today I'm going to be 5'10". Today I'm 5'10 and a half. Okay, and at 5'10 and a half, I'm not cramped. But if you're 6 foot or over 6 foot, maybe you will be. But I've seen reviews from other people, and they're around 6 foot, and they say they're comfortable as well. And I have to say, I'm very comfortable. So, when I'm going around a corner, I have a tendency, and I'm aware of it, to lock up my arms, especially if I go in there and maybe I scare myself with it. And then I have to remind myself to grip the bike with my legs, so that I've got more control over it. Now, because of the riding position of the bike, where you're very upright, in control, great field of view, it means that I can hug my knees into this nice narrow tank, and I feel completely connected from the waist down to this thing, which also means that my arms have no weight in them. They are only there to guide the steering, which means that my connection to this bike and my control over it is a lot better than it has been on some others. And not having a rev gauge in a way is liberating because I'm not looking at anything. It certainly does not feel slow. I came this way before on my S2R and there was no way I was going faster than I am on this thing. The only thing is that you will scrape the pegs a little faster, which is fair enough. So controlled, so composed, so light, so fun, but it feels more grown up than the Scrambler, and by that I mean the Ducati Scrambler. Definitely feels more grown up. Alright, so we'll pull over here and I will give you my final verdict before I lock it away. I know I'm not supposed to be on the curb. Okay, don't tell me off. That's just such a nice view. Unusual? Good. Come on. Good. Final thoughts then. Okay. We're parked up here on a sunny autumn day, looking it over. I'd be proud to say that that was my bike. In the category it plays in, with Yamaha and Ducati, if you're looking for credibility as far as a classic bike goes, this has such a thoroughbred, such a pedigree. When you compare it to those bikes, the look alone, the iconic Bonneville shape, takes it a step above. Because you cannot get a more respectful modern interpretation of the original bike for the money. The Scrambler takes influence from the original Ducati Scrambler, but in the same way that modern Minis take influence from the original Mini, it looks big, bulbous, cartoony and plastic. This thing has such an attention to detail that it takes it a step above. The Yamaha, even Yamaha themselves literally said they were jumping on the bandwagon as far as modern classics and heritage lines go. It does actually though lose power in 4th and 5th gear. So the fact that it has that low power and low peak power of 54, 55 brake horsepower. Hello. So the fact that it's got that low peak power of 54, 55 brake horsepower on paper doesn't become an issue. It really doesn't. In 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And it's beautiful and so much fun to play with. So light, so responsive, so well built and centered. And stable as well. And I like the fact that it's low for a seat height. The power issue only becomes an issue when you get into 4th and 5th gear and you're trying to pull away in those gears, and at that sort of time then you realise that it is a smaller, less strong or weighty engine than some of its rivals, and especially the XSR. And if you take out the Yamaha XSR, obviously you'll find that, but they're both 900s. used in a completely different way. Alright, on to the next one. It's a Triumph day. Oh my god, my phone! I've got lots of dead flies on my screen. Oh, and one on the lens. That is lovely. Looks like someone's tried to fry an egg. It came at a price. What can I say? Alright. On to the street triple. There we go. Smooth turn. Oh, it's a head turner. I mean, I know they're sheep, but they know their bikes. They should do. They see a lot of them. There we go. Approved by a field full of Tetzels.